We are pleased to welcome Ira Mehlman, Media Director of FAIR. That's the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Ira, thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, it's been quite the week, the last week certainly, at the border. And Title 42, of course, expired. The president seems to be boasting about the fact that the surge that was predicted didn't really occur at the level predicted. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's a little bit too early to take a victory lap here because the complete data are not in. What they are saying, and it's a very, very carefully worded statement, is that encounters with the Border Patrol have declined. But what we saw down there, we were down there last week as Title 42 came to an end, was that they were allowing people to come across the border who had been vetted by the Office of Field Operations. These are people who turned themselves in on the other side of the border, and the Biden administration has been abusing the power of parole to let people who have no legal right to enter the United States enter anyway under parole. They claim that at some point these people, if their claims are not upheld, will be removed from the country, which is complete nonsense. They're never going to be removed. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do is wait until the numbers that of encounters by the Office of Field Operations. That's another division of the Department of Homeland Security. They're dealing with the people who show up and use the phone app that they've been touting. And we saw them opening the gates in the wall and allowing large numbers of people to come through, taking them away in buses and vans. So, yes, it may be true that the number of encounters with the Border Patrol have declined, but it may well be true when the numbers come out that those are more than offset by encounters with the Office of Field Operations.
And are we not now discovering that a number of those who are crossing over are known terrorists?
Yes, they have flagged a few known terrorists over the past week or two, and that should be scary enough. But what really ought to scare us is the fact that while the Border Patrol is tied up processing the people who are coming across the border, or the Office of Field Operations, they're tied up dealing with people who use the app. These smuggling operations are bringing in drugs and other people who don't want to be encountered by any authorities because they know that they will be turned back or put in jail. So, what we don't know is how many people have come in with these cartels that smuggle drugs into the country while the Border Patrol personnel and other security personnel are tied up processing the hundreds of thousands of people who are coming across illegally. You talk to the Border Patrol, they will tell you that these cartels know what is going on. They're using the people that they think will be released into the United States on parole as decoys. While they're processing the people who come across and they catch, they're bringing through all sorts of other stuff and other people somewhere along the border that's not being patrolled.
Right. I came across a report, Ira, that indicated 16 known terrorists crossed into this country just in the month of April as compared to 11 in total during the Trump administration.
Yeah, and one of the things we should keep in mind, it only took 19 terrorists to perpetrate 9/11.
Yeah.
And here you have 16 in 1 month, and these were the ones that we know about. As I said, it is highly likely that there are others that we don't know about, and we won't know about it until something goes boom. And then there'll be a lot of questions asked and fingers pointed, but it all starts with the policies of this administration.
Right. Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, continues to maintain that the border is closed, is secure, is protected. What do you think about that?
Either he's living in an alternative universe, or he's flat out lying. He is not a stupid man. He knows very well what the situation is at the border. So, the most likely answer here is he is just flat out lying to the American people. When you have, last week, they were apprehending 10,000 people a day. You don't have 10,000 people a day coming across a secure border. Again, this is what is happening because the Border Patrol is so tied up processing people rather than enforcing the border. The border really is more wide open now than it has ever been. You do have the border security wall in certain places along the border where people can't get across, but you still have vast stretches of border that have no security whatever. At most, a thin fence separating the United States and Mexico. And that's where, we should be worrying about all the people and contraband and drugs that are coming across. So, Alejandro Mayorkas is just trying to sell the American public on something that isn't true. And look, I think the American public is not stupid either. We know what's going on.
It's just so aggravating, honestly, because every time he goes before the American people and makes those statements, they're so ridiculous. He's so like you said, out of touch, out of tune. But it's, of course, inappropriate for a member of the president's cabinet really just to spread those sorts of untruths, in my view. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I'm sure you've seen that she and some other Democrats started lamenting this idea that, hey, if we stem the tide at the border, or more importantly in her home state of Florida, more specifically I should say, where Ron DeSantis has implemented some immigration reforms, we're not going to have anybody to pick our vegetables and our fruit. That just seems like racist on the surface at a minimum.
Yeah, I mean, these are the same arguments you got from, in the antebellum South defending the institution of slavery.
Yeah.
It was indefensible then. It's indefensible now. We actually have indentured servitude going on right now. That is a form of slavery. The cartels who are smuggling people into the country are not doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Right.
They are collecting huge fees from these folks. They don't have the money. They have to work it off once they're here. And so they are working to pay off these cartels. You have children working in dangerous jobs in order to pay off the cartels. It is just abhorrent what is going on right now. It's a national disgrace. And it's a national disgrace that is facilitated by the policies of this administration.
Unbelievable. Where do you see this going? I think I agree with you that we're not going to send these people back that are crossing into the country. What's going to be the ultimate disposition?
Well, it's hard to know at this point. If you come into the United States today and say, I want political asylum, if they give you a notice to appear, and apparently they are now releasing people without even a notice to appear in court at some point in the future, but even if you're one of those people that they give the notice to appear to, we could be talking years. In some places in the country, the notice to appear will be sometime in the 2030s.
That's crazy.
So you will have been... Yeah, you will have been here, 7, 8, 10 years before you ever see the inside of a court, assuming you do show up for the hearing at all. In the meantime, you will be establishing all sorts of other reasons why you should be allowed to remain here in the United States. So when Mayorkas tells us that, now that we have dispensed with Title 42, we're going to be putting people in removal proceedings under Title 8, which is the main body of immigration laws. He's not telling us when that is actually going to be executed. And the fact is, it's not going to be executed in any sort of meaningful time that is going to result in any kind of deterrent for people breaking our laws. Yeah.
We got just about a minute left, but Ira, where does your organization stand on amnesty for the Dreamers, for the DACA?
We have opposed amnesty in all forms. What we have seen over the years is if you grant people amnesty, it is simply encouraging more people to break laws. If you reward law-breaking, you're going to get more of it. And by the way, the American public was promised after the last amnesty in 1986 that was a one-time deal and that the government would get serious about enforcing our laws. We, the American people, still have a debt that we expect to be paid by our government. They promise us something they haven't delivered. They need to address the issues and the interests of the American people before they even start thinking about, which illegal aliens should get amnesty.
Yeah, it's just a big old complicated mess that doesn't seem like there's an easy resolution to, or that there's really even interest on the part of the Democrats in Congress to come to the table to work something out, it's kind of like Joe Biden on the debt ceiling. It's got to be a no strings attached deal. We just got to give everybody amnesty and open the borders up, which is untenable, unsustainable. Ira, appreciate you joining us today. Yeah, go ahead. We got about 30 seconds.
Oh, I was just going to say there was a time when Democrats at least paid lip service to the idea that we should secure our border. Now they're not even pretending.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can give them credit for honesty, but it's honesty about a really bad policy.
Appreciate it, Ira.